This is the House of Parliament that we visited. This is a temple I went to say a prayer for my parents, knowing they were with us on this trip. This is a scene from the House of Parliament overlooking to Buddha. This is inside the House of Parliament where they have their meetings. The Prime Minister oversees. Marble pillars. There were 40 kilos of gold in ceiling and walls. This is showing the meeting hall. We just saw the Parliament chambers. These are all just scenes inside the Parliament House. House of Parliament, I should say. The hallways. The Prime Minister is head and runs all politics. This is a soldier outside the Parliament House. House of Parliament. That's seen from the street. This is a city market that we went into, fresh market, to buy paprika. This is our tour guide that gave me a prize when I answered all the questions right. A court jester on the Buddha side. View of Parliament, House of Parliament. Now we're on the Buddha side, and this is St. Stephen's Castle. We're crossing the chain bridge from Pest to go to Buddha. On the tour that we took, we had strudel. They treated us to strudel at the Strudel House. This is a thermal bath that is in downtown center of Budapest that we did go to a couple of days later. These are replica castles in downtown Budapest, actually Pest, the entrance to those replica castles. This is Hero Square. Hero Square was where we learned that St. Stephen's was the instrument in starting the conquest in 896. This is food that we ate at the New York City Cafe that my son recommended. A really good wine that I wanted to remember. And this is inside the New York City Cafe. It was really done in grand style. This is our bedroom with a great view. And this is the view outside our window in Budapest at Palazzo Vici. The first couple of days we were in Budapest, then we moved on to Vienna. This is a scene on a riverboat, on our riverboat tour of the Parliament, House of Parliament, and the chain link bridge that led from Pest to. After one day riding on the boat along the Danube, we arrived in Vienna. This is taking a tour of Vienna. We walked around the city center and saw the church and the statue in city center. We went inside a glass gallery where we looked at several glass sculptures. This is in downtown Vienna. Then we went into and ate in Demel, a bakery that had wonderful pastries, which we indulged into a chocolate mousse pie. This is Viennese chandeliers, Viennese glass chandeliers that were in Demel. We met an Australian couple and they joined us for lunch. We went to see the Lipizan Stallion show. It was an amazing show. These horses are very gifted. This is clothing they wear, the star horses wear. That says Spanish riding school. The Spaniards brought the horses over. These are saddles inside the riding school. This is the bridge leading through downtown Vienna. At night, the night before, we actually went to Palais Liechtenstein and saw a concert. This is the lobby of Palais Liechtenstein, a privately owned palace. Scenic invited all of everyone to a concert at Palace Liechtenstein. This is the first building we saw entering Vienna. We went through many locks, 68 in all, but this was one of the first locks that we went through upon entering Vienna. As you can see, the locks raise and lower the boat. This is us the first day on the boat. We had some breakfast service. Salzburg, Austria is part of the Wasau Valley. And we went to a show at the top of the hill in Salzburg to be entertained, music by the Sound of Music. And this is scenes from the top of the hill. We learned that Berg means hill, so Salzburg, Berg, hill, Salz. This is a piano of Mozart. We visited his home, and he had several pianos and a violin that he used to compose his works. So we visited his home on the 4th floor in apartment in Salzburg. This is a plaza in downtown Salzburg. We went to a store to get Mozart balls, which have mascarpone and dark chocolate on the outside. Delicious. This is the home, the birthplace of Mozart, in which we toured. These are locks on a chain link bridge that covers from one part of Salzburg to the other, where people declare their love. This is part of Mirabell Garden, where actually scenes from The Sound of Music were done. Maria singing "Doa Dear" to the children, and them responding. This is all scenes from the movie, Mirabell Garden in Salzburg. Austria, a medieval city built in 1000 AD. This is one of the many locks that we took to get there. We arrived on a rainy day. Cuckoo clock stores were all over the town. This is one outside a building. And this is in the quaint town of Regensburg. The church was a Baroque building, actually imitating Notre Dame in Paris. So you can see the structure of it is similar to that Gothic image as Notre Dame. The narrow streets of Regensburg. And this is the Prime Minister's Palace area. And they show how the work went from Baroque to Gothic on the buildings. And this is one of the oldest bridges in Germany. And this is a bratwurst stand. We actually walked into town and got some bratwurst, but that was a bratwurst stand. Stein, Austria. Arrived here and have gone through 7 locks now. We are at Portobello's Saturday night in their onboard boat. This is Muncie, Austria, which we stopped to have a coffee break. very scenic and beautiful. This is Agestein Castle that was built in the year 900. This is scenes from it. It's just the remains of the castle. We had drinks they served us inside before touring the remains of the castle. "900-year-old castle." That's when it was built, 900 years ago. This is the abbey and monastery in Melk. 20 monks lived there. We weren't able to take pictures inside. There's 100,000 volumes in the library. Now we are taking a bike ride. Early in the morning we took a bike ride from Dürnstein to Melk, and these are scenes along the way. This is our Jasper boat following us on our bike ride. We went on powered bikes. It was a fun way to ride. This is in the town of Dürnstein, which I went early in the morning and took a hike up to the top to the castle. So you're seeing the little town of Dürnstein and its narrow streets that lead up to the castle. Once again, it's the remains of the castle where Richard the Lionheart was imprisoned and died. So I managed to get up there with a group of about 5 other people. And we have beautiful views, and our boat is down in the river below. But it was a nice hike to start our day before we did the bike ride. This plaque commemorates the last days of Richard the Lionheart. Looking out at the Washoe Valley, parts of northern Austria, and the Danube River. These are just scenes along the town. It was a small town, and it was very quiet because we got there early in the morning for the hike. There's the castle at the top that I was climbed to. Austria, scene of the Nazi takeover. We decided to do a taste of Nuremberg instead of the World War II. We walked the walled medieval city and tasted bratwurst in a pub. Don drank some beer. This is downtown center in the ancient city where the women's church is. That's a women's church. This is again in downtown. This is the main church in Nuremberg, in the walled city. We tasted chocolate gingerbread cookie along the way and had bratwurst at the end. There's a lot of timber. This is typical of the buildings being timber and concrete. The red and white are signs of the flags back then. Before 1800 were Franconian, the red and white flag. Then it became blue and white for Bavaria. This is a tower in downtown medieval city. So this is a big walled city, medieval walled city, and that's entering into Nuremberg, one of the more modern homes. Germany. medieval city, also known as Little Venice. This is along a river where children are kayaking on the outskirts of town. Pretty scene of a swan taking a bath, a rest. A playground outside Bamberg. This is some of the ancient buildings. Bamberg is a World Heritage listed town. This is a cow that's on a butcher building that was part of the old city. These are gardens in the palace, behind the palace. This is a church in downtown Bamberg. Just seen along the streets of Bamberg. This is a mural that was painted. That's also part of the World Heritage. Medieval traders worked here, and this is a part of a fishing area here. And this is also the section that they call Little Venice. This is Würzburg, Germany. And it was very impressive with its steeples. This is on the bridge overlooking the Rhine. And this is downtown. Steeples filled the town. This is a church of the Museum of the Church. Very colorful city. This is a well-known bakery in town. This is a wine barrel inside a wine tasting that we went to below the bishop's residence. These are several wines that we got to taste. Wine vineyards on all sides on the way to Würzburg. This is inside the wine cellar below the bishop's residence. This was our sommelier. He ran the wine cellar and was excellent. These are the gardens behind the bishop's residence. The bishop's residence was they were very wealthy, and they had the largest mural fresco in the world on the ceiling of this residence. These are the gardens in the backyard that were just very unique and lovely. Well manicured. The bishop's residence. Our entrance, we were not allowed to take pictures inside. That is the Marian. Freudenberg is a quaint little town in which we went to an Oktoberfest. And I was drinking schnapps here, and they carried the schnapps around on these big, huge trays. And it was a true Oktoberfest, dressed for the occasion, all the people serving us. And Don had his fair share of beer. The beer was in abundance. They broke open a keg, and they served a lot of beer. And had music and Papa and all of that. So it was a festive day, and this is the typical clothing that they would wear to attract people to come in. Beautiful gardens in Freudenberg. So this is shots along the water, the Taube River, and this is just narrow streets between the buildings in Freudenberg. And this is along the Taube River, the mine to the Taube River. And in Freudenberg, the the captain of the ship had to put the boat in sideways. It went through Rudesheim, Germany. It was absolutely lovely. We went to a magical Siegfried's charming mechanical music instrumental museum where everything was just all animated. This is I tasted the Riesling wine in the area. It was delicious. Then we went and took a wonderful cable car ride up to the top near the Niederwall Monument for a spectacular bird's eye view of the Rhine River. Eventually we went down the Rhine Gorge and saw castles, but this is a beautiful cable car ride all the way to the top, Rudesheim, Germany. After we took a tour on the Rhine Gorge of all the castles, we got to visit the medieval castle of Marksburg, which has remained virtually unchanged since the Middle Ages. Here's a scene of it. We visited it at night and were able to partake in a medieval feast. And this is just scenes along the Rhine River, being in a castle that has, as I said, not been damaged by any world wars. It was really cool, 1,200-year-old castle. This is the torture chamber inside the castle where people were punished and held in bondage. These are knights through the ages from 600 BC all the way to 1700 that were in this one particular room in the castle. This is a bathroom leading off from the kitchen that actually hangs over the garden. This is an actual chess set made with the ivory back then. This is the bedroom in which the people would sleep sitting up. This is the kitchen in the castle. And there's the outhouse, which your remains would be dropped to the gardens below. This is the Rhine River. And these are all herbs that they planted in the gardens for spicing up their food. This is the way the castle looked. It was very rough, the stones and everything. Truly a great experience. We had local Cologne, Germany. We visited the largest cathedral in the area with twin filigree towers. It was really very humbling to visit. Then we went through the town, very, very busy city streets with upscale restaurants and upscale stores. We walked through to get our masquerade masks for the party at night. There's the twin filigree towers. And saw a wooden shoe factory. We went inside and they demonstrated how the wooden shoes were made, similar to keys. They put them on a machine and carve it out like a key. This is the windmill, Zahn-Shams, where they have windmills that make all different products. The one we went into was cutting minerals and grinding them into paint. So this was a windmill that actually created colors and dyes for paint. It was really a beautiful day, and looking at all these windmills was really cool. Zahn-Shams was the windmill city or town. Now we're in the town of Eden, also in northern Holland. It's a quaint little town known for its cheese. And this is Little Canal that we walk past. If I had to go live somewhere, I'd love to live here. This is a picture of the market square in Edam where they sell the cheese. And there's Don and I near a statue of someone pulling the cheese. Wooden shoes were seen outside the doors of homes, and all the homes did not have window coverings. You were able to look straight inside to see someone's living room. the town of Edam, which means Dam of E, as Amsterdam is Dam of Amster. We learned that. This is a scene from our room. We absolutely loved our room in Amsterdam in the Grand Hotel Amrath. These are houseboats along the canals. There's 250 canals in Amsterdam compared to 400 in Venice. There's a restaurant that we went to near our hotel. And then the first day there, we took a canal tour. This was a wine that I got on the boat that I was able to take back and have in our room. This is cannabis lollipops that they sell in the stores there since smoking is permitted. We're overlooking a canal and having lunch here. And then we went to the red light district and walked all along. And you can see sex shops all over the place and unsightly signs. As we walked through it, you could see women in the store windows, scantily dressed, selling themselves like merchandise. This is the House of Parliament downtown. Now we're in Anne Frank. I went to the Anne Frank home, and this is one of her quotes inside her home. We actually got to walk through and relived the whole diary of Anne Frank. It was quite a remarkable story, and I was glad to be able to do it. Again, scenes from our room. Beautiful city, Amsterdam. I'm glad we got to spend some extra days. There's a picture of our hotel in the distance, the Grand Hotel Amrath. And then we did go into the Van Gogh Museum on last Thursday. And this is me having some fun. Make your dreams come. Shake up your time in Amsterdam. Vondel Park. There's a lovely park in the middle of Amsterdam, and that was Vondel Park. And then we stopped into a Hard Rock and had lunch that day before we went to the Van Gogh Museum. This is done in a pub, outdoor pub. There's our hotel again. It was a grand hotel built over 100 years ago. And now we're on a canal tour. And this one shows 8 canals in a row, this particular picture. And it was fun going through these canals and seeing people living on these houseboats. I thought of Lee's friends, Patrick and Elizabeth, who live on a houseboat in D.C. when I took these shots. The weather was perfect. Bicycles everywhere. Amsterdam, by far, had more bicycles than any other city we've ever visited. Amsterdam, Holland, the end of our trip. We had a captain's farewell dinner. This is Vernie Baylor, our cruise director, and people dressed up, having a good time, masquerade. We went into Cologne and bought some masks, but everybody had their own version of how to dress for a masquerade. Don and I bought masks. I'm wearing a mask with a lot of rhinestones on it, colorful. It was a fun time. This was Monday night of the last week. Don was Phantom of the Opera mask. We were able to take a picture with the captain at the dinner that night and with our favorite waiter, Marion, who actually catered to my every need. And this is us at the dinner. Vernie Baylor.